And after the winds had come at last, the long ships departed from Aulis, and those who sailed within them were called by many names: Achaeans, Danaans, Argives. Men gathered from many lands beneath a single cause, and carried now together upon the sea toward Troy. But the road before them did not open cleanly, for the sea carried them onward through mist, through uncertain waters, and along unfamiliar shores. And many among the host looked out each day, waiting to behold at last the land for which they had gathered. But Troy did not appear. And at last, through the haze before them, another shore arose, a land of vineyards, of rocky hills, and narrow waters still beneath the dawn. And through the mist, the black ships entered slowly. And the men upon the ships looked toward that coast, and spoke among themselves. For some believed that at last they had come near to Troy, yet no walls could be seen, no towers, no sign of Priam's city. Still, the long wandering and the weariness of the voyage made eager the hearts of many. And among them stood Achilles, son of Peleus. Young still, eager to prove himself among the older warriors, and restless for battle, for the waiting had become a burden to him, and his spirit moved always toward action. So the warriors armed themselves, bronze was lifted, shields were taken up, and the first boats were lowered toward the shore. Then from the land men were seen gathering, not in welcome, but in haste. And there upon that foreign coast, with neither herald nor parley between them, the first fear of war arose. And the men of Mysia came down toward the shore, not in ordered ranks, nor as an army long prepared for war. Some bore hunting spears, some carried shields kept from older battles, and many had come only because smoke had risen beside the sea, for they believed raiders had entered their land. And among the foremost of the Danaans was Achilles, young still and swift to anger. The tide broke white around the hulls as the first men leapt into the shallows. Then one among the Mysians ran forward, crying out against the strangers upon the coast, and Achilles met him there, swiftly. Before the battle had fully begun, before the kings had understood the land beneath their feet, blood was spilled upon the shore, and the man fell among the surf and stones. So the son of Peleus drew first blood in lands beyond Achaea. Then the shore broke into violence. Spears crossed in the surf, arrows passed overhead, and men already lay dead beside the water. Some among the Achaeans cried out that Troy had been found at last, but others were less certain, for the land did not answer them as Troy should have answered. And the battle widened across the land. What had begun beside the shore spread now among the vineyards and along the dusty roads beyond the sea. The Danaans pressed inland, driving the Mysians before them. Yet still Achilles drove furthest ahead, for battle had taken hold of him now, and the swiftness within him could no longer remain still. And where the fighting grew fiercest, there also stood Ajax, son of Telamon, broad as a tower among the warriors, holding the line where others gave ground. But not all among the Achaeans remained certain of the land before them. For Odysseus, son of Laertes, looked upon the coast and valleys beyond it, and doubt began to move within him. For this land did not seem to him like Troy, and still no walls of Priam rose before the host. And word was carried inland to Telephus, king of Mysia, son of Heracles, born of a house touched long before by suffering and exile. And when he heard that strangers had come armed upon his shores, he did not remain behind his walls. For Mysia was his land, its rivers, its vineyards, its people. So he called his warriors to him. The chariots were yoked, spears were gathered, and men who had once followed him in battle armed themselves again beneath the dust of evening. Then Telephus came forth among them, and the men of Mysia took courage at the sight of him. Then at last Telephus came against the Danaans. The chariots rolled across the dry earth, spears flashed above the vineyards, and the men of that land cried out, not for conquest, but for the defense of their homes. Then the fighting turned hard upon the Danaans, for Telephus was no less a man. He was descended from Heracles, and strength was in him. Where he entered the battle, the Mysians rallied, and many among the Achaeans were driven back toward the shore. Then through the vineyards they drove one against the other. And there Achilles came upon Telephus, not before assembled armies, nor in the ordered manner of later songs, but suddenly, amid dust, shouting, and the confusion of men fighting upon unfamiliar land. And Telephus cast his spear against him. Then Patroclus cried out beside his companion, warning him amid the dust and shouting. And Achilles turned aside before the spear could strike him. But Achilles did not fall back. Forward he came, and Telephus turned again to meet him, standing fast among his warriors. Then the son of Peleus struck him. Deep went the bronze, and the king of Mysia fell wounded among the vines. At once the Mysians rushed toward their fallen lord, while the Danaans pressed fiercely around Achilles. And the struggle darkened there beside the river banks, as evening began at last to descend upon the land. And as the light began to fail, the fighting slowly broke apart across the land of Mysia, for the wounded were carried from the vineyards, and the dead lay scattered beside the shore, and among the trampled rows of vines. The men of Mysia gathered about Telephus, son of Heracles, raising their wounded king from the earth. And the Danaans returned slowly toward their ships, their armor darkened with dust and blood. Then Odysseus, son of Laertes, looked upon the coast, the smoke rising in the fading light, and the unfamiliar land beyond the sea road. And he said quietly,
"This is not the land men named as Troy."
And the words passed heavily among the host, for another land had suffered in Troy's place. Then the black ships turned once more toward the open sea. And behind them, upon the darkening shores of Mysia, there remained Telephus, son of Heracles, wounded among his own vineyards. And still, they had not yet reached Troy. And still the road to Troy lay before them, for the war had begun, yet Ilios had not yet been seen.